Alright, so the next thing that we're going to talk about for this lesson is going to be slope-intercept form. So the first thing that we need to fill out is the vocabulary at the top section. So the first part says linear equations are often written in the form y equals mx plus b. And that is going to be called the slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form. Alright, so when we have an equation, it's going to be written in this form. M, as we talked about before, is going to be the slope, and the variable b is going to be the y-intercept. So let's look at this in practice. Let's look at example 1. Example 1 says state the slope and the y-intercept of the graph of y equals x minus 3. So remember, everything needs to be in y equals mx plus b form. So we said that the slope is going to be m, and our y-intercept is going to be b. Okay? So if we look at this equation that we have right here, there's no number in front of our variable x. So when there's no number in front of the variable x, that just means that our slope is going to be equal to 1. Alright, so there is a 1 in front of the x right there. Alright, we said that our y-intercept is going to be our b value. Our b value is -3 in this case. So that's how we find the slope and how we find the y-intercept. Okay, let's keep going. We can look at example 2. Alright, before that it says you can use a slope-intercept form of an equation to graph it. So if we look at the formula y equals 2x plus 1, we can identify what the slope and what the y-intercept are. So we said that m is going to be the slope. That is our variable that comes before the x. So our slope is going to be 2. Alright, and our y-intercept is going to be +1. Okay, remember when we have slope, it's also a fraction. So 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. Alright, our y-intercept, that means whenever our x is equal to 0, our y value is going to be 1. So if we substitute in a 0 for x, okay, and we solve this equation, we should get, let me erase that, 2 times 0 plus 1. 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. So whenever our x is equal to 0, my y value is going to be equal to 1. So if you look at the graph that's right next to it, we can go ahead and plot the point 0, +1. That's right there. Now using our slope, we can rise 2 and go over 1 to figure out what the next point is, and then we can draw the line for our graph. Alright, that may be a little confusing, but let's look at some more examples and it'll probably make a little bit more sense. Okay, so the next part says to state the slope and the y-intercept for the graph of each equation. So we can do that easily. Remember we said that we're going to look for the number in front of our x value. So our slope is going to be 1, and our b value, which is our y-intercept, is going to be +1. Alright, number 2. Our slope is the number that's going to be before our x value. It's going to be equal to 2. And then our y-intercept, which is b, in this case, is going to be -4. And last but not least, let's look at number 3. Our number that comes before the x is going to be 1/2. And then my b value is going to be -1. Okay? Next it says graph each equation using the slope and the y-intercept. So before we can graph it, we need to go ahead and identify what our slope and our y-intercepts are. So for number 4, my slope in this case is 2, because that comes before the x value, and my y-intercept is going to be +2. Alright, so we said whenever x is 0, that's my y value. So if I start at 0, my y-intercept is 2. So I can plot a point right there on the axis for 0, 2. From there, I can use my slope, which is going to be the same, which is going to be 2, which is the same as saying 2 over 1. We can go up 2 and to the right 1, and my next point is going to be there. So if I go up 2 and then to the right 1, I can draw a line through this, and that's how I'm going to graph that line. Okay, let's look at number 5. Number 5 says y equals x minus 1. So once again, my slope is the number that comes before the x, which is a 1, and my y-intercept is going to be negative 1. So once again, my y-intercept is whenever my x is 0, my y value is going to be what the y-intercept is. So if I start at 0 for x, and then go down to negative 1, that's what that point is. From here, I can use my slope, which is 1, or 1 over 1, which is the same thing, to figure out what my next point is. So I can go up 1 and to the right 1, and that would be my next point. So my next point would be here. Alright, and I can draw a line through this point right there. Alright, lastly, y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Remember, my slope is 1/2. Alright, so we already have my rise over run in this case. Alright, and then we said that my b value, which is my y-intercept, is going to be positive 2. Okay, so when x is equal to 0, my y value is going to be 2, which is right here. Alright, now using my rise over run, I can go up 1 and then run 2. So if I go up 1 and over 2, my next point falls right here. I can draw my line through these 2 points, and I have my graph. Alright, so hopefully this made a little bit more sense. If you guys have any questions, please write them down and bring them to class tomorrow.